wrapping up, like tying loose ends, giving away things that are valuable to them, returning things. Um, Sometimes people who are depressed who you know that they've been depressed and they have decided to commit suicide, sometimes there'll be sort of a resignation. Like they start to feel better all of a sudden, and it's because they've decided that they are going to commit the act.
Suicide is a permanent solution to temporary problems. There is always a way to solve problems or make them manageable. If you can't think of solutions, someone else can. If you ever have thoughts of self-harm or suicide, or if you feel like your mental health is suffering, please call the National Suicide Hotline, 1-800-273-8255, or visit COC's Health and Wellness Center for free therapy sessions.
Dozens of people were up in arms over potential changes in the healthcare system. They brought their concerns to U.S. Congressman Steve Knight. Here's Jaylene Aguilera with the rest of the story.
ACA is here to stay!
They're angry. They're worried. They're uncertain. And they've taken action to the streets, protesting to defend their health care. People gathered right outside of Steve Knight's office in order to protect Obamacare, and they are standing strong.
5 million of us standing to lose coverage. California will lose $28 billion in healthcare funding in 10 years. This is wrong, and we need to stop Congress from passing this terrible bill.
And others gave their own personal stories.
I couldn't get help from the government because I was making too much money. So people like Steve Knight just want me to die off, but I didn't do that. You know, I kept fighting, and and I'm still fighting.
And many worry for those with pre-existing health conditions.
Because I think that the ACA needs work, and I don't think it's worth completely getting rid of. And that's the problem. To get rid of it, to make millions of people lose their health care and to benefit the wealthy isn't the answer.
With frustration and anger, they stand together as one in hopes for a better tomorrow.
The ACA is here to stay!
Reporting for Cougar News, I'm Jaylene Aguilera.
Speaking of healthcare, I think Louis can tell us more about that.
Louis, could you let us know?
Definitely. Obamacare lives on. Senate Republicans have abandoned their latest attempt to kill the healthcare law. The move delivers a serious blow to one of President Trump's top campaign promises. The GOP has vowed for the 7 years to abolish President Obama's signature legislation. Republicans now say they would turn their attention to overhauling the nation's tax code instead. Vice President Mike Pence says he is disappointed. And more fallout from the NFL players choosing to sit instead of stand for the national anthem. Isaga's Pizza Parlor says it will no longer showcase games in the restaurant beginning this Sunday. The owners of Vincenzo's Pizza say they believe in the free speech and free right to protest, but not when it comes to the flag or anthem. And here's a bit of good news from the political arena. LA County pools, including Castaic Aquatic Center, could remain open year-round. LA County Supervisor Catherine Barger made the proposal at the board's latest meeting on Tuesday. Castaic is scheduled to close at the end of October, but Barger is hopeful that the facility will remain open. Barger says all pools in the county are vital for folks of all ages. And that's what's trending. For more news and information, be sure to check us out on cougarnews.com. Also, follow us on our various social media platforms. Back to you, Sam and Tanner.
Thank you, Louis. From deadly hurricanes to high-octane sports, former Cougar News reporter Nick Collada is blazing a trail along the Gulf Coast. Louis Tran shares Collada's journey from Santa Clarita to the Florida shores.
Flooding continues in Texas as Harvey drenches the state.
Too many. Hurricanes are not something many people witness in their lifetime. In fact, it's something many hope they never have to experience. However, to Nick Collada, this is a part of his everyday life.
I'm Nick Collada, and here's what's to come.
Nick Collada graduated from COC in 2013, where he currently works as a news photographer in Miami. For the past few years, he's traveled and filmed big events from Hurricane Harvey, shooting the Pope in Cuba, professional sporting events, and not to mention Avatar Land in Disney World. Collada says a lot of his experience would not have been possible without the help of COC.
Whether you're doing stuff on air, behind the scenes camera, editing, technical directing, regular directing, producing. So it definitely helped a lot to try each and every little thing.
Here in Santa Clarita Valley, COC is considered a part of life for many in the community. Here, students are focused on their studies in order to prepare for the next stage of their life. To some, this may be another junior college. However, for Collada, it was key for him to discovering a path to success.
He's definitely been a big impact. Dave Brill has definitely he's definitely had a huge impact on my life, on my career.
Nick continues to give back to the COC community when he can. He tries to help students by giving them key advice that he has learned along the way to help guide them with their academics and future career plans.
Some great advice I could give you is internships. It doesn't matter how many of them you could do. The more, the merrier. Because the internships is where you're going to learn a lot too.
Nick one day hopes to come back to LA. However, for now, he plans to continue to learn, grow, and develop his career in Miami and see where life takes him next. I'm Louis Tran. For more news, you can check us out at cougarnews.com.
COC professors and students alike are coming together to help spread awareness of the representation issue in the LGBT community for Banned Books Week. To discuss this year's theme of marginalization, here's Jed Bookout with more.
Banned Books Week is back at COC with a theme centered on marginalization for the 2017 fall semester. Over the course of a week beginning on September 25th, guest speakers, workshops, and book displays will be available in the Learning Center for students to learn more about banned books. Professor Aaron Delaney thinks understanding why these books are being challenged is important to student success.
Many of the books that have been on the banned books list for years and years have been very popular books. Right? They have to be popular to get enough attention for someone to want to ban them. And so in some ways the challenges are good news because those books are gaining enough critical attention and popularity that people are noticing them to say that they don't want to have them available.
Of the 10 most challenged books in schools over the last year, 5 have focused on LGBT characters or were written by queer authors. Monday's seminar was led by TLC tutors Miguel Chavez and Matthew Lemus and was specifically about the struggles faced in LGBT representation.
What we aim to do here is to really talk about the importance of representation for people that fall under the LGBTQ plus umbrella and what the implications of a society that feels the need to filter these experiences and this media or material out are.
Banned Books Week began on September 25th and runs until September 29th. For more information on this event, find the story on cougarnews.com. As always, this is Jed Bookout.
Coming up next on Cougar News, we see what resources are available in SCV for teen drug abuse.
And the deaf community comes together to support an ALS artist. Stay tuned.
The American Red Cross urgently needs blood and platelet donations and asks donors to schedule an appointment to give now. Every 2 seconds, someone in the United States needs blood. Your blood donation is critical and can help save lives. Please, schedule an appointment today. Download the Blood Donor app, visit redcrossblood.org, or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. You can make a difference.
They've been very caring. They care about every single student that's in the class.
Everyone seems to be like pretty friendly with each other. Like no one's really afraid to ask each other for help.
Working with other people, not being ornery, actually, listening to what people say, collaborating with them to create a really good product.
It's great to use the same stuff the pros use, especially at a community college.
Hopefully we give them a pathway to have their creativity showcased.
I've gotten a great education.
I love the access to equipment.
I've made lifelong friendships.
I have great teachers.
watching Cougar News.
Welcome back. The William S. Hart District is taking measures to make sure teens are being safe due to the drug abuse reported throughout the Santa Clarita Valley. Cougar News reporter Francesca Ward shows us what steps we can take to prevent this issue.
On September 13th, the city of Santa Clarita hosted a parent resource symposium at the center. This event was held to bring awareness and resources to the people of Santa Clarita regarding drug abuse in teens. Rehab centers, counselors, and other resource centers that specialize in drug addiction set up informational booths throughout the venue. Many don't realize how hard the signs of drug addiction are to spot until it's too late.
I wish I could say that my son went on to college and lived the life that he had worked for and deserved, but that's not the case. We had signs and symptoms that we minimized, that we glossed over, that we chalked up to it being first child.
Parents from all over Santa Clarita Valley joined the discussion after the panel.
As a parent and as also an owner of the Brain Balance Achievement Center, I thought this was a unique opportunity to come in, participate with the community in this very important issue regarding the drug addiction and things that we can do as parents and as community members to help out.
Other city officials spoke, including law enforcement and medical professionals, to give parents an idea of what drugs can physically do to the brain and the body. Some of the booths included games like the drunk goggle test to show kids what it's like to be under the influence of alcohol while trying to take the standard sobriety test. Most of the kids struggled with walking across the floor, showing how much alcohol affects your cognitive ability. If you know of or are dealing with signs of drug addiction, go to heroinkills.org for a list of resources from counseling to recovery. For Cougar News, I'm Francesca Ward.
More than 200,000 residents call the Santa Clarita Valley home. Keeping them safe is the job of the Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff's Department. Cougar News reporter Amanda Moulton got up close and personal on a ride-along with Deputy Chris Germanson.
I always knew that I wanted to get into some type of job where I was helping people, whether it be law enforcement, fire, military, something along those lines.
So we're going to transport her to the hospital.
Loving the always changing and fast-paced situations day to day, Germanson wouldn't change his career for anything.
I think my job every day is pretty cool. It changes so much. I don't know if there's one single thing that I would be like, oh, this is the coolest thing I've ever done, but yeah, I couldn't really just pinpoint like one exact thing. 6 months out. You always have to be mentally prepared, so we work 16, 18-hour shifts, so just being in that mental game for 18 hours, I think sometimes that's challenging for us.
Despite the demanding hours and other challenges of being a sheriff, at the end of the day, Germanson is still passionate about his job.
I think anytime that I can help out a kid or we can help out kids, it's always something that sticks in our mind and we remember. A lot of those incidents are really sensitive just because of the nature of them, but anytime you can help a kid or take a kid out of a situation that wasn't healthy for them or positive for them, I think that's a good thing.
Empathy comes into play a lot when dealing with all types of personalities and situations throughout the shift.
Everybody has bad days, so we come across those people who are sometimes unhappy, but like I said, at the end of the day, like everybody has bad days, and I think that's something we have to remember. So that's something I always think about when I encounter somebody. I don't know what happened or prior to us contacting them.
When asked about the future in law enforcement, Germanson hopes to have a canine and a job in narcotics.
That's ideally what I'm trying to work toward to. So obviously I want to do that for a while and then take the path or the promotional path up from detective to sergeants and then up the ranks from there. I love this job. There's nothing about the job I would change. I mean, everything you do is a learning experience, so there's nothing I would really change or do differently.
Reporting for Cougar News, I'm Amanda Moulton.
When you think about human trafficking, you may not necessarily think about America, but as Carlos Lara tells us, the problem hits much closer to home.
This past weekend, College of the Canyons held a human trafficking seminar to educate the community on the prevalence and severity of trafficking. The seminar kicked off with a joint presentation from members of the Coalition to Abolish Slavery and Trafficking and the Los Angeles Regional Human Trafficking Task Force, an agency created almost 2 years ago to tackle the immense task of coordinating between multiple law enforcement agencies and service organizations to stop trafficking.
Let's say it's a street vendor selling tacos on the street. He's going to get a cite, but what if he's being forced to do that? The people that are forcing him to do that aren't getting punished, or we're not identifying it. So that's why we're trying to pull all these organizations, the community, the faith base, all together so that we can identify better, who's possibly trafficking these human beings, and if these people are victim of human trafficking, how we can get them connected to services.
The event also included a panel of trafficking survivors sharing their stories and tips on how to best assist victims, as well as a panel of professionals in nonprofit fields aimed at helping trafficking victims. These professionals provided resources and insight for those in the community trying to make a difference. I spoke to My Gen, My Fight, a COC club that helped organize this event and an official subsidy of Zoe International, about what comes next in their fight against human trafficking.
In next year, for the first time ever, Zoe is going to be building a children's home here in LA County, in Acton. So we're going to be having a benefit concert next week, actually, September 30th from 5 to 9 p.m. at Bridgeport Park. That concert is going to help fund this new children's home.
For Cougar News, I'm Carlos Lara.
Before we go to entertainment, just into the Cougar newsroom, founder of Playboy magazine Hugh Hefner has died at 91. Now, over to Leah with entertainment.
Sometimes living in silence has its barriers, but those barriers are being taken down by ASL artists. They're living their dreams and sharing their art with not only the deaf community, but also the hearing community. Michelle Lutz has more. Let's take a look.
Saturday, September 23rd, Elevate ASL artists took over COC's Performing Arts Center, featuring 10 ASL artists, including MC CJ Jones, recently off the set of his newest movie, Baby Driver. This event, co-sponsored by Elevate and COC's ASL Club, brought the hearing and the deaf community together.
So, it's bringing both worlds together. They're not separated, deaf on one side, hearing on the other. They don't understand the deaf, but we bring them together. It's accessible for all of us.
Performances included ASL signed song, storytelling, poetry, comedy, and dance. Friends, family, students, and other famous ASL artists showed their support by laughing, dancing, and signing together.
I want to support, when the deaf actors are motivated, their dreams, and they need support. So I'm here to support them and to spread out the news, to give them opportunity and ensure that their dreams come true as well.
The uplifting performances and sharing of the cultural experience caused the audience to get out of their seats and rock out to the beat. People of all ages, deaf and hearing, came together to support COC's ASL Club. They will be hosting more events like this for those interested and a part of deaf culture. For Cougar News, I'm Michelle Lutz.
It's a debate that goes back decades. Is Pluto a planet? Whatever your personal belief may be, Pluto is the whole world for children of the moon. Evolving, the arts are becoming more emphasized locally. Children of the Moon, a group of 3 event coordinators, are organizing shows throughout Santa Clarita to promote the local arts. On September 9th, they held Pluto Fest 2017 in the woods of Soledad Canyon. Music artists, visual artists, and vendors came together for a festival that was out of this world.
With suburbias like Santa Clarita, where we have absolutely no venues whatsoever, I think it's been a mass evolution as of recently, and I'm not trying to toot our horn, but I feel like we're somewhat of a part of it because nobody else is really taking the initiative to push that out there. There's only so much venue-wise that we have going on out here, so everybody is really left to their own devices to get shows and live music and even art in general happening in the local valley. So it's other people that are really looking for the same opportunities that can come together and make something really cool happen.
Events like Pluto Fest encourage artists throughout the valley to display their work and allows multifaceted individuals to get together. For Cougar News, I'm Leah Rousseau.
This has been your entertainment news. Back to Sam and Tanner.
Thanks, Leah. The Santa Clarita Arts Department held a reception for a new Native American arts exhibit at the Old Town Newhall Library. Georgia Rios has more on that.
This past week at the Old Town Newhall Library, the Santa Clarita Art Society put together the Native American Neshkanuket art exhibit. Featuring 16 local natives, the event allowed people from all over the valley to come see a variety of art pieces, ranging from pottery, paintings, photography, and live music. Santa Clarita Councilman Marcia McLean explained why our city thrives off exhibits like this.
Our community is very culturally minded, and to have a space such as the Old Town Newhall Library in order to be able to have exhibits like this is very, very special to us on the City Council. And it's just something that we never want to lose. We never want to lose our art. We never want to lose the different communities. We never want to lose our cultural history.
During the event, Elder and Chairman Alan Salazar led a blessing, as well as talked more about how Native American culture is passed down through generations and how it can be preserved.
The culture, storytelling in all cultures is extremely important. And as I got involved in storytelling, I quickly realized there's not a lot of us out there. And my goal the last 5 years and the last few years of my life, how many I have here on this earth, is to find those young storytellers and to share my stories with them, and then they'll take them for the next generation. I just think it's an extremely important art that's used all around the world by all peoples.
The Neshkanuket art exhibit will be on display until January 5th, 2018. For Cougar News, I'm Georgia Rios.
Coming up on Cougar News, we discuss the Electoral College system.
And we explore the life of COC's star quarterback. Stay tuned.
In a home fire, can your family safely escape in 2 minutes?
I heard my oldest son holler for mommy, and all I could see was smoke. The boys, we never really worked with them, I guess, on telling them what to do if there's a fire. We lost our child. We lost everything.
Make sure you can safely escape a fire. Practice your 2-minute drill. Test your smoke alarms monthly. Make your plan today.
College of the Canyons creates possibilities.
It's a gateway to opportunities.
A place where students learn they can believe in themselves.
Behind every possibility at College of the Canyons are the people.
Together we focus on achieving success, one student at a time.
That focus is a reflection of what we value.
It defines who we are.
We are. We are.
We are College of the Canyons.
You're watching Cougar News.
Welcome back. After Donald Trump's unexpected victory in the 2016 presidential election, many are questioning the effectiveness of the Electoral College. The National Popular Vote Interstate Compact hopes to steer things in the right direction. Sam Josen has more.
Thank you.
In light of our most recent presidential election, it seems that criticism towards the Electoral College has only grown.
Well, currently I don't really support it because I don't think it represents the majority of the people.
It seems a little bit outdated, if I'm right. It's the original system of our voting. Now we have quite a bit of technology that would allow for individuals to vote. So In other words, we can have a proper population majority.
Each state's electoral votes equals the number of House representatives plus the number of senators it has. Most states award all electoral votes to whichever candidate wins that state. But the winner-take-all nature of the Electoral College has some pushing for reform. The National Popular Vote Interstate Compact, or the Compact for short, seeks to abolish the Electoral College via state legislature. States in the compact would award their electoral votes to whoever wins the most votes nationwide, essentially turning the presidential election into a popular vote.
I think it'd be a lot more fair.
It does seem more fair, more reflective of the actual population.
The compact would take effect as soon as enough states to equal 270 electoral votes, the amount needed to win the presidency, join in. 10 states, including California, plus the District of Columbia have already joined, totaling 165 electoral votes.
Anytime you make a big change in our political system, there are always unintended consequences. And so it's important for people to think through what's going to happen if we make this change. For example, as I was mentioning earlier, the way that presidential candidates campaign would fundamentally change if we didn't have the Electoral College and the winner-take-all system. I'm not going to say whether that's good or bad, but at least people should think through what those changes are going to be and ask themselves,
Reporting
is this
for
an
Cougar
improvement?
News, I'm Sam Joseph.
Because what might look like an improvement might not necessarily be one.
Finish the Ride hosted its event this past weekend in Santa Clarita to raise awareness of hit-and-run crimes. Cyclists from all over came out to participate in the ride to support the nonprofit organizations that sponsor the event. Sam Delgado has more on the story.
Santa Clarita hosted Finish the Race this past weekend, where cyclists from all over came out to support the event. The event itself started 4 years ago after bicyclist Damien Cavett was dragged nearly a quarter mile under a car down the 5 freeway. Cavett miraculously survived the accident, having lost his leg and breaking 10 ribs.
But when I was in the hospital, I vowed to finish that bike ride. And when I found how bad the number of traffic collisions were and how many cyclists were hit and how many pedestrians were being hit, I decided that I wanted to turn this into something to help save the lives of others. So if I could use the fact that I lost my leg and almost lost my life to help save someone else's life, that was the purpose of this event.
Finish the Ride supports the nonprofit organization Streets Are For Everyone, or SAFE for short. SAFE works to help people who have suffered traumatic injuries in traffic collisions and to make the streets safer for millions of people in the Southland and across California. The event also supports the nonprofit organization Tactical 180.
Tactical 180 was founded to support military, all area of service, first responders, and people with disability and their family, to get them to get back into activities through cycling and runs and walks.
Participants in the event all received medals for completing the race. The post-event festivities included food, drinks, live music, and free prizes from sponsors at the event.
Finish the Race will continue its event next year at Griffith Park, with number of participants expected to grow to over 1,000. With Cougar News, I'm Sam Delgado.
So Sam, been able to see that COC Athletics has been doing pretty good this season. You've been able to catch any games?
Unfortunately, I haven't, but hopefully Catherine can tell us more.
Definitely. Thanks, guys. As COC football gets ready to kick off their conference play, there is one player who you might want to tune in for. Here is Tanner Nava to take us to the sidelines.
With the Cougars football team off to a strong 3-1 start, it may surprise students and fans that the leader of the offense is an 18-year-old from Rutherford, New Jersey. Andrew Brito is a freshman and the starting quarterback for the Cougars, who just recently moved here from his hometown of Rutherford. Andrew grew up playing football in New Jersey, so a move to California was, well...
It's different. The people are different back home. I don't know, it might just be New Jersey is very unique, but it's definitely a different world.
Although it may be confusing to some why a teenager would choose to play for a junior college across the country. However, it turns out that former Cougar football ties is a reason that Andrew picked to come play for College of the Canyons.
Well, one of my coaches, Coach Brian Walker, from my high school, he went here in 2004 when they won the national championship. He recommended it. He said it's a great place. They have a lot of connections.
Andrew doesn't plan on hanging up his cleats after COC, and although he is keeping his options open, there has always been one school he's always dreamed of playing for.
Oregon. Have an Oregon keychain. I wear it every single day. That's just always been my dream school. Vernon Adams, one of my role models. Marcus Mariota, another one of my role models. And I just always loved the school, and it's one of the reasons I came out here, hopefully get recruited by them more, because I'm in the West Coast.
A move across the country can be scary for a teenager. Luckily for Andrew, his older brother made the move with him.
He's always wanted to move to LA, and just happened to be that I found a school 45 minutes away from LA, so he moved out here with me, and now we're living together.
Andrew also takes care of his business off the field, where he focuses on his studies. Andrew is currently studying engineering and plans on obtaining his associate's degree before he transfers. Reporting for Cougar News, I'm Tanner Nava.
Deeper into the cross-country season, the competition is only getting stronger. And with COC boys cross-country desperately lacking team members this season, they are doing the best they can to make it into this year's state meet. Last week, COC hosted the Southern California preview race here at Central Park. But what's next for the boys? Deani Ellis tells all.
Last week, COC's cross-country team hosted the 2017 SoCal preview meet at Central Park. This meet was one of the biggest ones COC has ever had. With a total of 35 teams that held over 320 men, Canyon's men did their best to stay close to the top-ranked teams, such as Glendale, Mount Sac, and a few others from the north. Although it was a preview meet for SoCal, the north teams were entered into this one, giving Canyons a few new faces to run up against. The race was all over Central Park, up and down the back hills, with a flat finish on one of the soccer fields. One of COC's top runners finished in 40th place, and then followed a few of his teammates slightly right after him. In the end, Canyons earned 17th place. This week, they would go to the Western State Conference meet that is hosted by Citrus Park, where they hope to be top 10.
COC women's volleyball coach Clay Timmons discussed his past coaching experiences behind the great Lisa Hooper, as well as his team's outlook on the season and what to expect from the Lady Cougars. Cougar News reporter Zach Ferber has more.
Coach Clay Timmons has been with the women's volleyball program at COC for 13 seasons, and this being his second year as head coach. Timmons has set the bar high for his Cougar team to do well. I asked Coach Timmons what has he learned from longtime coach Lisa Hooper, and if there's anything from her coaching he applies in his coaching.
She was very instrumental even just kind of starting out in the college realm as a coach. I came to COC as a student in 2004 and immediately was noticed by Lisa when I was still kind of playing myself, and so got an opportunity to kind of sit on the bench and watch her do her thing, and I started to really fall in love with coaching, and so over the years coaching under her, I learned how to get the group together, how to get them all on the same page, how to motivate young women. I'd always just played with guys before, and I always coached guys. I'd never coached women before. Resiliency. We kept using that word. We got to be resilient. We got to be able to kind of take the punches and adapt and bounce back.
Lastly, Coach Timmons told me he thinks his team can be champions once again if healthy and everyone is all hands in.
When this team is playing at its highest level, everybody is doing their 100% job and bringing that to the group through proper communication and execution. I don't see any reason why this team can't actually win this state.
Coach Timmons has his season's expectations high as the Cougars get set to play Victor Valley on the 27th here at home. For all information regarding COC Athletics, be sure to check out the COC Athletics webpage. For Cougar News, I'm Zach Ferber.
Grocery carts, plastic bottles, porta potty doors, and more. You never know what you'll find while cleaning up our environment. Michelle Lutz takes us down to the river to see how volunteers are doing their part.
As the weekend heated up, over 1,000 Santa Clarita residents helped clean up the river that runs through our backyard. The 23rd annual River Rally and Environmental Expo took place last Saturday, bringing Boy Scouts, nonprofits, and other groups together to make sure
the animals can stay alive.
volunteers went through biology training and then collected trash throughout the Santa Clara River.
Over the 22 years that we've done the event, it's been 422,000 pounds that has been collected between all of the efforts. And each year, luckily, it does go down a little bit on how much trash we collect, which is the goal, because we'd ultimately like it to be where we don't have to do the event just for the sheer fact that there's no trash to clean up.
The event was hosted by a city program, Green Santa Clarita. City Council and residents believe it is very important to protect our environment.
That's my river, and I want to take care of it.
Look out for this event next year so you can help in cleaning the Santa Clara River. For Cougar News, I'm Michelle Lutz.
That does it for this edition of Cougar News. I'm Tanner Nava. Remember, you can catch us on the web at cougarnews.com.
And I'm Sam Josen. You can send us news tips and story ideas to our Twitter handle, COC_Cougar News, and follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Have a good night, everybody.